Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Before the Green and After the Checkers. My name is Evan, and I am here with my co hosts, Mara Lee and Donnie, and we have a show for you. So, we are leaving Darlington and Throwback Weekend, and these are the storylines that we're going to cover. William Byron sneaks a win in a race dominated by others, which includes Truex, Chastain, and Larson. We had multiple late race cautions, which drastically changed the end result as many frontrunners were eliminated. And once again, Ross Chastain's himself into the news cycle. We're also going to talk about the return of North Wilkesboro this weekend and the All-Star format. So let's just get into it.
What is up, gentlemen?
How's it going?
Hey. So,
This
for those of you that are listening, it's important for you to know that this is the first time we've ever recorded in a way that we could all see each other, and it has changed the dynamic, and I have a super high anticipation for both how good this could be and how bad it could go.
I think they
So-
also need to know that it's 12:07 in the morning right now.
Yeah, as in not noon. I'm surprised Mary didn't tell you that was breakfast
No!
time at Blackville High School.
it was lunchtime at high school. It was
What did I say?
12:07. Breakfast.
Oh, yeah, well, for a lot of us, that was our first meal.
It was.
Yeah. Seeing as it's 12:07, we probably shouldn't hang around for too long before we get right to the material. But I hope everyone had a good week.
Yeah. So what do you think of
You
the
look good,
throwback
Don.
schemes?
Yeah, okay, you won.
Yeah.
I can see it. Donnie's excited about winning. That was a bad looking car, though.
Oh, so nice.
It's one of those, it's so ugly, it's nice. Like, it
Right?
happens.
That's exactly it.
What drives me crazy?
Not with people, because, like, I'm still single, but...
Manly's picking up the podcast, listeners. But what drove me crazy is, like, of the four... Actually, I think... How many did we have? 6?
Yeah, we went down to 3. So we went 6 and then down to 3.
Yeah. And you only had one that won. And yet, you still had, like, the winner.
There's only one winner, so...
All you need.
And it was you.
They
But
should've been
anyway,
the Suarez
I
car.
digress.
Thanks to everybody who voted, by the way. That
Yes,
was
greatly
great.
appreciate it. It was a lot of fun. We'll do those polls more frequently, I think.
Not that many.
Yeah.
It was a lot.
Maybe not that more frequently in a week kind of thing, but more
Yeah.
frequently.
Yeah, there was a lot of fake accounts I had to make to vote for that Will Byron car.
Hey,
And
you
they
were
weren't
successful.
They weren't that good. Donnie 1, Donnie 2, Donnie 3.
With 3,000 votes. And 14
It was interesting.
listeners.
He spent more time changing the location of where the accounts were from than he did actually changing the names.
All right, let's get going, guys. We're having too much fun, but it is now 12:09, so let's go. All right, we were in Darlington, so tell me, who won the race this week?
If I can remember.
I mean, it's your car,
Right?
man.
William Byron.
Pulled it off. It looked good in that, what was it they called that color? Chrome something or other. I hate that I don't remember. Normally I would. I
Right.
think it's just the timeline, but
But I mean,
it was
even
really
be
nice.
like he looked really good. Like you really didn't see him until the very end.
I
Like, it was
know
a
you
race
can't
that
even
was
say he dominated or
dominated
anything.
by Truex for the longest time, but
You were gutted, weren't you?
like who's throwing blocks on the second stage? Well, we all know who it is, but what an idiot! Like I do have to admit, it made for a better race because it looked like Truex was just going to drive away all day. I mean,
I'm gonna scroll down and see if we. No, we don't. We don't discuss this later, so I'm just gonna get into it with you
okay,
because I believe Truex was his own enemy there. He drove in deep, got into Ross's rear quarter panel, and spun himself.
no.
Yeah.
Like, did you not see Ross completely have to slam the brakes on because he's driving in his rearview mirror, not paying attention that he's got Suarez in front of him, and then leaves Truex absolutely nowhere to go?
No, I didn't see
Like,
that.
come on.
Okay. I mean, Truex still ran into the back inside of him.
All right.
I'm just
Yeah.
saying.
It's too late to argue that one, but no, man. Like, that was some. Gotta keep this Christian. That was some dumb butt driving from Ross.
It wouldn't be the last time he had dumb butt driving in that race.
Okay, so back to the champion, William Byron.
You mean the winner?
Nope, the
Maybe
champion of
she
this
knows
race.
something we don't. Mary Lee's calling
William,
it.
She seen the script?
I'm just curious. Has he won multiples this year? Because
Yeah,
it seems like he
he's
has.
looked really good. I think this is his third win, first 1 to 3 on the
Yeah.
season.
Yeah, and
Wow.
the first two were back to backs, actually, weren't they? Phoenix and somewhere else.
Yeah,
So then maybe I am calling it?
yeah,
Because, like, that's a pretty good opportunity for championship.
yeah.
I
I mean,
think
he's
you
looking
and
solid
a lot of other people.
week in and week
Yeah.
out. So,
I mean, all those Hendrick cars have been having speed this year, but he's been kind of cream of the crop.
yeah. Josh Berry's looked pretty
Yeah.
good, though. It's nice to see that 48 being competitive again.
You mean the 48 car that was leading the points until NASCAR took the points away? I mean, the guy had the best start to the season in that 48 car.
Yeah, when you're
Josh
cheating, you
Berry
can get away with
continuing.
those things.
Okay. Everybody cheats in NASCAR. It's part of the game. It's a beautiful thing.
If you're not cheating, you're not trying.
Absolutely.
I think I need to not be part of this podcast anymore. I don't believe in cheating.
How'd your fast there go, Marley?
No. I was alluding to we played a board game the other night, and with our friends, and we were all around the table. We were playing this new board game, and one of the ways you can win is having 16. One of the ways you can get points is having 16 cards in your hand. And I accidentally, while handing cards out, put my hand of 13, where I was picking up 3 more, into the bin, and because I could only remember 10 of them, would not take the other 3 because I didn't want to be known as a cheater. And then also kind of like gave up on the whole game, but still, I was so mad. I've never been more angry at myself.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm still suspicious that she cheated.
No,
Completely.
obviously not.
I mean, listen to the guilt in her voice.
Guilty
Trying
conscience.
to convince us too she didn't cheat. There, and I know she did.
No, the only time I ever cheated was playing Monopoly with Evan as a child because I wanted to not play Monopoly. So I would sit and take handfuls of money, hoping he would see me.
And I never saw her.
No, not very observant.
The most oblivious person in the world. But
anyway, you mentioned at the beginning of the show that there are multiple late race cautions. Was the race a caution-filled event?
Not really. Until the end. I mean, we had.
Then why would you write it?
We had the no, we had the caution at the end of stage 2, which we just talked about, where Truex and Chastain got together. Other than that, it was actually fairly tame. Like Donnie said, it looked like Truex was just gonna drive away with it. Nobody was touching him. He was just kind of working through the field. But near the end, once that first caution came out in the bunch, it was over. It was just caution after caution there for a few laps. I want to say there was 3 or 4 to end the race.
Yeah, but it was nice to see the race end clean once it did get back going.
Yeah, once Ross was pushed down the backstretch, 500 feet or so.
That's the thing. I was worried Larson was going to push him to the win there for a bit.
I was a little worried that they were gonna penalize Larson a little bit, and I'm glad to see that they did.
Yeah.
So Ross was involved in multiple incidents this week.
Ross,
Yeah, he got into it with Truex, which we talked about.
ruined his day.
Well, I mean,
He did.
he was involved in that one. He didn't cause it, in my opinion. Donnie and I disagree, and that's okay. Then he was involved. He got into, well, Larson got into him on a restart, and then
which he
the
jumped the
next
gun on
restart.
before you go into that.
Yeah, I
Larson
agree
was
100%.
in P1. He didn't start that, so I mean,
Yeah, I actually think NASCAR should have penalized Ross in that moment, and probably would have saved a lot of drama.
Yeah.
By Ross not being at the front of the field. But Larson gets into him there, and then on the very next restart, he gets into Larson and takes them both out, and they were the leaders at the time. So,
but like he wasn't even close. Like to like,
no, I will say that he had there was no chance he was clearing Larson, and I don't know if that's a spotter issue or I don't know if his spotter cleared him. Well, it could be that. It's not a lack of speed for sure. He's got speed, but
I think he's on speed.
But I mean, to self clear like that, I would almost have to think that there was a spotter issue there to some degree, but I don't know.
So wasn't it you saying last week that Truex or Larson are the ones he shouldn't mess with? Oh no, Gregson. And Truex. Gregson and Larson.
Gregson and Kyle Busch.
Oh, I'm really not good at this. So did either of them go for him, wreck him, end his game?
To be honest, I don't think either one of them were near
Kyle Busch had to be told to keep it together. Do you not remember that? During one of the starts there, they said, like, we got a good car. Like,
oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? He was warned about it. And he still, like, he raced them aggressive for sure.
Yeah, he definitely did.
Yeah, I think Chastain was a little more cautious on that than.
Well, even Ross knows that if there's a guy you don't mess with, it's probably Kyle Busch. Yeah. And Kyle warned him the week before, so it only stands to reason that.
Like, honestly, thought someone would take him out because this is the racetrack to make it look, not like it was on purpose, but the fact that he ended up taking himself out, like, it just goes to show you how dumb this kid is.
Well, the thing is too, it's not like you can you can't look 10 weeks down the road and go, okay, by that time the heat will be off, Ross won't be in the news anymore, and then I can subtly take him out, because the next 10 weeks, 7 of them are going to have a Ross Chastain storyline.
That's it.
Like, it's just unbelievable.
I feel like in the next 10 weeks, we're going to have 11 Chastain stories.
Well, we had 3 this week. Like, it was unbelievable.
Yeah, when I clicked on NASCAR.com to see who won the race, it was like it said something about William Byron, and then the next 4 articles had Ross Chastain's name in them.
Yeah, I mean he's good at being in the news, that's for sure.
It's not a bad thing sometimes.
No. Yeah, I think this week it went a little far, because now we're hearing from like other team owners. Right, we haven't really heard from team owners at this point. We've heard from drivers and stuff, but we haven't really heard from team owners. Well, now Rick Hendrick and Jeff Gordon both made comments this week. And then on, I think it was Monday or Tuesday, his team owner, Justin Marks, was on Sirius XM, and he made some comments about how, he's going to have a more hands-on approach with Ross and sit down and discuss how they can clean it up a bit going forward. And I think it was Cliff Daniels too.
Cliff Daniels wanted to boot it from Chevy.
Yeah, he laid into him on the radio.
As he should, though. I mean, Larson had the car to win that.
Larson had the car to win, and if you look at it over the past, since the season started, I think this is the 3rd time that Larson's been taken out because of a Ross-caused incident.
Yeah.
Even at Dover, that was taken out by Ross too, even though Ross didn't hit him directly. That was 100% Ross's doing.
Yeah.
So Ross Chastain.
Exactly.
Good one.
But
Thank you.
I was saying to you earlier in the week too, like, Chastain at that point, I don't feel like had the car to beat Larson, but he still
Probably
takes
not.
him out. And it's the same thing. Harvick didn't have the car to beat Byron, but Harvick's going to
Mm,
race you clean, and you just
yeah,
got to concede, like, you know what, I don't have what I need this week, so I'm going to bring it
right.
home to a second position. But Chastain just refuses to do that. Like, if he can't be first, then he's going to make sure whoever's first ends up last.
Well, the thing is too, like you look at Harvick. Is there anyone hungrier to win this season than Kevin Harvick, who's retiring at the end of the year and hasn't been as dominant as he used to be,
Yeah,
and yet he still drove Byron just as clean as possible. And like, it's funny when that last restart was happening. I'm like, okay, this is going to be a great finish. It'll be a good race to the end. And by the end of turn two, man, it was
yeah.
Byron's gone. I was like, what happened there?
So
Didn't see that
anticlimactic,
coming.
but refreshing at the
Yeah,
same point. Like,
yeah, because I didn't want to see another caution. And,
yeah,
we saw what Joey did to Byron last year to win that
yeah,
race. I didn't want to see
exactly.
that again either, right? Yeah.
Why? What did he do last year?
With like a lap or two to go, Logano just destroyed William Byron's car, just used him as a brake, and then Byron get in the wall. And at that point, like, we were still seeing a lot of toe links breaking. And so Byron didn't even, I don't even think Byron finished the race really.
Yeah.
Like Byron said after the race, he said, I moved him earlier in the race, but like he lost a spot. He said we lost like 10 or 15. That was the only time I've ever actually seen William Byron appear angry.
That's classic Logano, though. Oh, you
Oh,
wronged
yeah.
me on the third lap in, so I'm going to save it. And
Yeah. He just didn't give me as much room as I
yeah,
deserve. Yeah. Logano doesn't take too kindly to people using him up.
no.
All right. Well, let's move on to what's happening this week. North
Sure.
Wilkesboro is returning. So, what's the scoop with that? Like, why returning? It hasn't been on the docket
Yeah.
for a while.
Yeah. It hasn't been on since 96.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's why I still remember.
Well, yeah. Actually, do you remember the NASCAR game that we used to have on that first computer we ever got?
Mhm.
It was on there, and it was one of my favorite tracks.
Mhm.
But yeah, it is a big deal. It's been gone since '96, and I think it was in 2019. Um, like it's been not being used. Period. Not just on NASCAR. Period. And then in 19, Dale Jr. kind of arranged to get the iRacing crew out there, and so they went out and cleaned all the grass out of the track and stuff so that they could scan it with lasers. And they got it on iRacing, and then there just kind of a few things continued on. And when COVID hit, and they were doing that online racing with all the cup drivers, they used the North Wilkesboro track, and it just kind of went from there. And there was a lot of fans that wanted it back, and here we are. It's not a points race, but it's an all-star race, so it's gonna be kind of cool.
So, iRacing has brought it back. Changing the
Yeah.
world, iRacing is.
Well, to be fair, I know that was mocking, but to be fair, the new Atlanta configuration was also designed on iRacing. So you can mock it all you want. I think everyone knows I have a slight addiction to it. It's fine.
Slight, sure.
Yeah, slight.
So, are you guys excited for it
Are
then?
you sitting under racing rig right now?
Yeah.
So,
Well, it's where my computer is. So, and trust me, it's way more comfortable than my other chair.
do you own a bed anymore, or do you just sleep on that? Be honest.
No, I own a bed.
You sold your bed for iRacing money, didn't you?
No, no, I'm not that way anymore. I've cleaned up my act. I've grown up and matured.
Not
I'm
too much, but we won't get into that.
I'll answer the actual question. Yeah, I'm excited. Um, for a couple
Because
reasons.
he's been doing it on iRacing, so he's ready for this.
No, actually, I don't think I've run. I don't think I've actually run North Wilkesboro yet. With the Cup cars, but um, I'm not generally that excited about the All Star race as a whole. Just it's they allow too many people in for one. Um, the fact that you can get fan voted in and a few other things. The fan vote's not the big deal, but to let everyone run the pre-race and then win their way in is kind of weird to me. I think the All Stars race should be the All Star race, where it should be all stars and that's it. But I am excited that it's going back to pretty much a more classic format. It's pretty much just a straight up 200 lap race with only one guaranteed caution halfway through. So no gimmicks like it usually is and stuff. I'm excited for that, and I'm excited to be at Wilkesboro.
Oh, you're going, are you?
Once those media credentials come in.
What? This is not pick on Evan time.
It's so funny though. Okay, let's
I
move
think
on to
I
Corey's
actually have
question.
the jet booked for this weekend, man, so I'm not sure you're going to be able to make it.
Okay. So hateful.
Maybe you're irate. You can drive that down.
Okay, let's move on to Corey's question of the week because it really ties into this question about the All-Star race.
I'm in me mom's car. Vroom, vroom.
That's a lot of. Okay.
Get out me car.
Listen, I wouldn't say too much. I've seen you try to drive it.
You got me there.
Yeah, I got you.
Now you gotta
Dead to
pretend.
rights.
I forgot you were here since he's put that in.
Yeah, for Daytona 500. Yeah. You come back next year, Donnie?
No, I'll
For
probably have to
Daytona?
skip that one, but
Oh, you think being there in person is better?
we'll see. Dad actually told me today that we're heading down Wednesday now so we can be at all the races.
Oh, sick.
Yeah.
So you're going to get to see the Arca Wreck Fest and everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Did we hijack Corey's question of the week?
Yeah, I was just going to say, let's bring it back. Corey's question of the week is, how are the All-Stars determined, and how is the All-Star race different from the others?
Go ahead, Don, if you want.
Let's see if I remember this. How are they determined? Basically, if you won a race last year, you're in. Or even if you won a stage, isn't it? Or is it
Nope, you have to have won a race.
Okay. Or if you're a past...
Last year?
Yeah. Or this year.
Since the beginning of 2022.
Yeah. Or if you're a past champion still racing full time.
Yep. Or if you won the All-Star before, too.
Yep. Or if you're a fan favorite that sucks and get voted in.
Yep.
And so then Alex Bowman?
Alex is locked in. You jerk. Alex won last year. And then, of course, you get the two drivers that finished the best in the Open as well.
Yeah.
So how many drivers are in this race? Because that sounds like a lot of people.
Yeah. So locked in already, there's 22. But with Bowman being injured, there's technically only 21 currently, unless he gets cleared to race, which at this point, I doubt it's going to happen.
Yeah.
So there's 21 locked in. Then there'll be two that earn their way in through the Open, and then there'll be one more that's fan voted in. So there's a total of 25 out of 40 chartered teams. Or no, out of 36 chartered teams.
Okay, to me it sounded like there was going to be like 100 cars out there, so
yeah.
Apparently there's not that many winners or something. I don't know.
Well, no, it used to be a lot more like refined, but as with anything, sponsor dollars came in, and sponsors didn't want their sponsorship not to be in the All-Star race, so we had to find a way to make it for everybody.
So, do they opt in? Like, could I have won and decided not to race, kind of thing?
I don't.
Yeah, but
can you?
Why would you? I'm sure you can. No one can force you to do something, but
I suppose
I don't.
But I mean, too, it's a fun race. You don't really have to worry about much, and you get $1 million if you win.
Yeah, and nobody else gets anything.
Yeah.
It's all or nothing, which usually leads to a fun ending.
Yeah.
Typically.
As far as being different from other races, you don't get points for this one at all. Like, you're not locked in. It doesn't matter if you win. Doesn't matter where you finish. It just means nothing. And that's kind of why I don't like the All-Star race at this point in the season. Like, races should matter. So last year, watching Blaney win this race and still not be locked in was just frustrating. But that's just me.
Yeah,
I,
Blaney should have been in the playoffs last year, but
what's that?
I said Blaney really should have been in the
I think
playoffs
he
last
was,
year. He had
wasn't he?
such a great year. Oh, yes, right. It was Truex that got
Yeah,
eliminated. My bad.
Truex finished
But
fourth.
he would have been had Kurt Busch not withdrawn,
Yeah, exactly.
right?
Yeah, but I am excited for Wilkesboro. I think that will be cool.
I think
It'll
so
be
too.
fun to see how it races too, because you got to think like if this is a huge success, like will they make room on the schedule for it? Will we have a points race there again?
What concerns me is we haven't had a lot of success with our short track package in the last couple years with this car.
Yeah,
So I worry that the race isn't going to be that great because of the car, and then it's going to get a bad rap for no real reason. And that where like I want to see more short track racing, more good short track racing.
yeah.
And I hope this isn't just another in a sequence of events, right?
Let's turn into a super speedway.
Ugh.
All right, explain to me how the field is set for the All-Star race, guys.
Yeah. So basically, it starts with a pit crew challenge. So usually it involves the car driving into the pit stall and then doing the pit stop. But long story short, it's 4 tires, no fuel. And that sets the starting lineup for the heat races and the open, which are determined by your pit stop time only. Okay. Then you have what they call the heat races. So the 22 drivers that are already locked into the All-Star race are then divided into 2 groups for 2 60-lap races.
So
So
11 and 11.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
Quick
So the first
maths.
heat, yeah, she's good.
She did
But
have
if
a
she had to pay
calculator, to be
attention,
fair, if we can see her.
well, and
No,
if she
I did not.
and if she had paid attention, she would know that it's probably going to be 11 and 10, right?
Why?
Because Bowman's not going to be
Bowman's
racing,
not an
and Josh.
all-star.
Oh, right, but like nobody else cares about Bowman as much, so
Obviously, everyone cares about the driver they root for more. But anyway, so the first heat determines the inside lineup for the All-Star race, and the second one determines the outside lineup. And each driver has one set of tires in the pits. So that's a lot like how they set the field for Daytona as well. They have the 2 races. One sets the inside line, one sets the outside line. If you want to take the All-Star Open, Don, you're welcome to do that.
Yeah, so the remaining full-time Cup Series drivers will have a 100-lap race, 1 guaranteed caution at or near lap 40, and then the 2 top finishers advance to the All-Star race, and each driver has an additional set of tires in the pits.
Right. And then, of course, we have that fan vote as well. So if the fan vote happens to be one of the top 2 drivers in the Open, then it just moves down the line. So by rights, the top 2 fan voted drivers may not actually get voted in by the fans. They may earn their way in. So then it'd be the 3rd highest that would get the fan vote. And then we go to the big showdown.
Yeah, and that's the All-Star race. 200 laps, competition break at or near lap 100. Everyone's going to start on fresh tires. Everyone, I think, has 3 additional set of tires.
Yes, sir, in the
Yep.
pits. So 4 total, 4 sets.
And
yeah. And all the laps count too in that race, like caution laps and everything. In years past, there's been some races where they haven't. And they got standard overtime rules. And Donnie, how much do they win if they win?
$1 million.
Oh, did you want to say it, Marilee?
Well, I'm just saying I actually knew that part.
Oh, let me phrase it a different way. Then I'll ask you again, Marilee. How much money will you never have?
$17.
See, now she's not as excited.
The winner of this race wins $1 million.
And how much does second get?
Nothing.
Not a thing.
Cool.
I love it. I love it.
How do they decide which group of drivers, like which group you're going to be in? Do they pick names, or is there something else that?
No, it's determined by the pit crew challenge. Remember? So the fastest pit stop is number 1. So it'll be all the odd numbers will be in heat number 1. And then all
okay.
Yeah, so the fastest will be number 1, and then second fastest will be number 2. So that'll be the poll of both races.
I see how I missed that.
So,
Okay.
and actually, I will say the Pit Crew Challenge is the one thing that really makes me like the All Star race a lot because it does shine a light on those Pit Crew guys too, and they deserve that.
And girls. There's females there.
Yes, there is. Name
I
them.
saw one on like some show once, remember? Was it Lego Builders? Where was the female pit crew on that we anyway, it doesn't matter. But
Not
there was
sure.
somebody on a TV show at one point. Anyway, winners and losers of this week. I'll move on. I'll figure that out. What do we have for winners this week?
You
Either
want to
or.
start, Don, or do you want me to start?
I mean, I'll say Toyota and Truex. Like, I know it was a rough ending, but they looked good again. They have speed. Looks like they're able to compete with Chevy on a week-to-week basis now. So I feel like Toyota's trending in the right direction.
I think you're right. They did almost sweep the first two stages too,
Yeah.
which is good. So,
And yours, Ev?
um, I think the fans were probably the big winner this weekend. Which I've used that one a few times now, but Throwback Weekend is super special. From not only from like a current standpoint, but from a historical standpoint. It's really cool to see all the old paint schemes. The fans all get really involved. The broadcasters get really involved. And then this year too, we had the top 75 drivers with a lot of, well, most of the living ones were there on site, and there was a bit of a ceremony involved with that for the 75th anniversary. So it was really cool to see all of the history come together, as it always is. And I think that's a really good thing for the fans. For one, there's we always talk about the divide between the old fans and the new fans, and how the old fans don't like what the new fans like, and the new fans don't like what the old fans like. But it seems like that kind of unifies the whole fan base, and I don't think anyone's ever upset that we have Throwback Weekend.
And if you like a good sappy story, listen to last week's episode. Evan's got a reason for every car.
And honestly, I think
I'm
every
sorry.
fan could agree having Carl Edwards back at the track, that was awesome.
Yes,
Like,
that was super cool.
you're right about the fans being winning this week. That was wicked.
I would love to see him be one of the Project 91
Right.
cars. Like, I really think that'd be super cool to bring him back for a week. I don't think he has any interest in doing it.
Yeah,
But it would be cool to see him come back and do that again.
for sure.
So who were the losers of the week?
Anybody who drove near Chastain.
Do you want to list them? Who was like? Ryan Newman. I think for me, was probably my loser of the week. Only because of how his race ended. He actually was running quite well, especially for a Rick Ware car. He was running pretty good. Just kind of had a bad result in the end. Just I don't even really know if something broke or if he just got loose or what. But
Kind of choked in that Ware car, eh?
It took me a second to actually get what you were referencing, but yeah. The old Cody Ware incident. But
Go
yeah,
get choked
so
up talking about that.
yeah, but it was good to see Ryan back too. I liked his comment the other week. They asked him if he wanted to run a few other places, and he said he only wanted to run specific tracks because he already had 2 bars named after him in the car. He didn't need a third.
Yeah, not looking to be a crash test dummy.
Yeah. Yeah, which is interesting. Because he flat out said he's not convinced on the safety of these cars yet. So that's an interesting take.
Yeah, I think we had made improvements this year, as from last, but still, obviously there must be some room if Newman's seeing things.
Yeah, it's good to see the back of that car crumpling like it should, and that way that all that impact's not going in on the driver. Yeah,
it's just snowboards and sprint cars now.
It's actually just the Hendrick facility that just needs modified and we need baby proofed.
What's your loser of the week, Don?
Like I said, anyone that got near Chastain, and yeah.
I like how it wasn't good enough the first time she made you
Yeah,
say
exactly.
it twice.
I don't mind saying it again.
That's weird. I totally thought she was supposed to keep the conversation going forward, not reverting backwards.
It is really late at
It was
night.
throwbacks.
My listening skills. Throwback.
It's early morning, actually.
I
Okay?
know.
Lunchtime.
Shout out to
Goodness.
Steve Bow. You have fun working with me tomorrow, buddy.
All right, so predictions for this week. Apparently, it was a rough week for our picks at Darlington, as the average finish of our chosen drivers was 21. Good job, guys. I'm really proud.
That's Chastain's
Thank
fault,
you.
not mine.
So if you remove Harvick, who finished second, the average changes to 27.33. So here's how the results lined up. Evan picked Reddick, who finished in 22nd, and Chastain, who finished in 29th. So really, that's a pretty bad finish there, Ev. And
Yep.
Donnie had Truex Jr. in 31st. Not great, but Harvick in second.
Yes. And Truex.
Wait,
So-
you said mine was a pretty bad finish, and then you get to Truex, who finished 2 positions worse than my worst guy, and you went, not great,
Nope,
but
I was going overall 22 and 29 versus 31 and 2.
It is worth pointing out that all 3 of our drivers that didn't finish well were all because of the same driver.
Exactly.
Yeah, Martin Truex.
And so
Well, he wrecked himself.
we tied on points
Sure.
this week, yeah?
Apparently they're currently still in favor of 15 to 14 for Evan.
Yeah, but we have
like
1
some-
point each.
But
Is what he meant.
is anybody actually checking to make sure he's doing the math right? Because
Well, now that I know your
Okay.
history with board games, I might have to look into this.
That's
No, I'm not
Marilee's
doing
history,
it.
not mine. My history's clean.
that we know of. So this week's a non-points event, but we're still going to keep track. So Donnie wins the tiebreak by having the highest finisher in the field. So guess who picks first? Evan.
Yeah.
All right. So hold on. The first pick this week has to be from the All-Star Open, and the second pick has to be from one of the 22 drivers already locked in.
Right.
Is that okay?
Yep.
All right. So pick one there, Ev.
All right, so my pick, are we doing the Open first, Donnie, or do you want to do the All-Star race first?
Oh, let's go Open.
Okay. My pick to win the Open is Michael McDowell.
Write that down there.
I am.
Yeah, we
Can
can
you hear
hear
me?
it.
Oh,
Yeah.
I do have a really loud keyboard. Sorry. Donnie, who's your number one pick?
Eric Almirola III.
Well, that's a lot of typing.
I don't know if he's the third
okay.
or not. I just want to see
He's
if she
not.
type it out.
Well, this way I won't ask you again. So, who's your pick, Don?
Fair enough.
Anything else you want to say about those two guys? Or you're just hoping they win.
I think Eric's got the best shot in the field.
Yeah.
I think he's the most talented guy that's not in it, so that's my reasoning.
I feel at this point McDowell looks old enough that he looks like he might have raced there before it went off the circuit in '96. Unless you're looking at his caricature that he's young and buff.
Well, let's be honest, guys. Characters always make us look better. Pointing at you too.
She's not wrong on that.
I don't know. I would say Donnie's camera's doing a pretty good job.
Just that little part of his face.
Yeah.
All right, pick number 2.
Yeah, so this is who I think is going to win the All-Star race. And admittedly, I'm going a little bit more for sentimental value here than anything else, but I'm taking Harvick. Harvick's bringing back the number 29 car this weekend, which I know you might not know this, Merely, but he normally runs the number 4 car. And this week he is bringing back the number 29, which is what he first started racing in the Cup Series. So it's going to be cool to see that car back on track.
It really is. I'm so excited. It's a touching story.
And yeah.
All right, Don.
I obviously, too, was going to pick Harvick, but it's where Evan took him. I'm going to go with Brad Keselowski. He's running solid all season. I feel like him and Buescher both had a solid showing last year at the All-Star race. I feel like they were both top 10. Maybe like 6-7 or 7-8, something like that. I can't really remember, but I know it was solid. So, yeah, I'm going with Kez.
Actually, yeah, Buescher should be locked in too, shouldn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, he won. I remember Boucher won.
He didn't win this year though.
Yeah, he did.
Nope.
No, you guys picked
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
It's
He
hard to
won
keep
last
track.
year. Well, yeah. I mean, you got Busher.
No, you guys just like pick all these people that never win, so it's never the same names.
Yeah, I
It's
went
more
back to
confusing.
back.
No, hang on. We've
Sure.
picked 3 wins this season.
Can't make a joke.
I would agree.
Who do you think gets the fan vote?
Ross
guys.
Chastain, man. Ross
No.
Chastain.
To be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if it's like Ryan Newman.
Yeah,
I think that's definitely an option.
I'm hoping LaJoy.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
And he's definitely like on the list.
Right?
Because I wouldn't be surprised to see Ryan win his way into the race too.
Yeah. At least block somebody
would be
from getting
cool.
in.
If he starts at the front, it's all over. Yeah, those are probably, I think, the 2 most likely candidates. Allmendinger, I guess, is on that list too.
Yeah.
And Gregson and Gibbs have pretty good followings, but not so much in Cup yet. I just pick everybody.
Apparently, yeah. Just
Yeah.
get in there.
Pick them all.
Everyone's
You can't
got a
lose.
chance. Yeah.
How is long as Ryan Newman not been racing full time? Am I wrong in saying that?
No.
He was he done in 21?
Yeah, last year was his first year out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. When Kez took over the 6 car. Yeah.
And then he missed quite a bit of the season there with the
Well,
Daytona accident.
He didn't miss nearly as much as he would have, which is like because COVID hit. So, and I think he was back when they came back, if I'm not wrong. Like he only missed like what 2 or 3 races.
That's wild to think.
I forgot about that. I was watching that night. That's how boring it was during COVID.
Yeah, that accident was the second worst thing to happen to Ryan Newman that year. The pandemic was above and beyond. Just honestly, the fact that man walked into the hospital 3 days later is still like unbelievable to me.
Right.
Now, I did have some questions about his mental capacity when he walked out without socks, but
you do know the story of that, right?
Yeah, I do. But he still walked out barefoot. I mean, it was.
I mean, would you want to hang around the hospital and wait for a pair of shoes to be delivered?
No, but I'd be very squeamish about walking out on the bare pavement like that.
Why?
I don't know.
Like you never walked on pavement as a child without socks on?
No, I still do from time to time, but not like a hospital.
Well, it's like the cleanest place ever. They have to keep it clean.
You should look up statistics on hospitals and like airborne diseases and bacterials and stuff.
I'm sorry.
Everyone knows you get airborne diseases from your feet being on pavement.
Right? Like, and also...
She said hospitals were the cleanest place.
I just mean
That's
like...
what I was referencing.
Yes, but I'm talking very specifically about the floors. Like, they clean there quite often.
Yeah.
Definitely more than the floors in the house you live in.
Honestly, after surviving that crash, I don't think Ryan Newman's thinking, I bet a virus on this floor is going to take me out. Like, he probably thought he was going to live forever after that.
After getting a bow tie to a head, he probably thought he was invincible. Yeah. I honestly, that was probably one of the roughest endings to a race I ever watched. Like, for the next 2 days, I just had this gross feeling in my stomach. Like, just watched a guy die.
Yeah.
And kind of cheered as it was happening until I saw how bad it was. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It's one of those deals. But it's good he's back.
Yeah.
Good he's back. Well, guys, I don't want to cut it short, but we're 40 minutes in, and it is probably bedtime, so let's wrap this up, if you're okay with it.
Yep.
It's about 2 hours past bedtime.
This is for the fans, guys, okay? It's for the fans.
Donnie's staying up until Sully wakes up. That's what's happening right now.
I've heard him twice during this podcast, so.
Nat, can you get him?
All right. That wraps up the show for this week. So please take an extra few minutes if you can, guys, and share our podcast with someone that you know enjoys NASCAR. Or if you're brave enough, your entire social media circle.
If you're looking at me to keep this thing going, my laptop died and I don't have an outline or nothing anymore. So.
All right, so we'll be back next week. And We'll follow up.
I just
on
kind
the
of
return
realized like
Northwest
both of you are staring at me. It's just like, oh shoot. Sorry guys, I cashed in already.
That's all good.
All right.
Well, in that note, please make sure to like and follow our Facebook and Instagram page, and to leave a review of our podcast on your favorite podcast listening service. If we can grow this podcast enough, perhaps we can find a way to spring for a charger for Donnie's laptop.
All right, guys. Until next time. See ya.
See you guys.
Later.